Well, it gives me great pleasure to bring on board Radhika and Bala to talk about what a year it's been. We've introduced them in different capacities. Radhika is CEO of Edelweiss Mutual Fund, Bala is CEO of Birla AMC. They're the office bearers of AMFI now. Bala is the chairman of AMFI. Radhika is vice chairman. So today I want to introduce them not in the official capacity. Today I just want to introduce them two well-wishers of ET Now who've been coming on the channel on various turning points. We've been discussing, engaging, and we've been really taking this very simple message across. Stick to your asset allocation. Buy when there is fear, sell when there is greed. 80% of the wealth is created by the right asset allocation. Be a disciplined investor, and if you just ignore the noise and the short-term volatility, in the long term, equity or asset allocation will surely help you reach financial goals. So Bala, Radhika, happy Diwali to both of you. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of everyone from ET Now, Swadesh and ET Now, I would like to extend you season greetings.
Diwali, Nikunj, and to you and your team, for all the viewers, and thanks for having us on the show. As you rightly said, clearly, I think fear is something when it is there, one must consider investment. When there is a greed, definitely, of course, one need to be cautious. There is absolutely no question on that. Other than building a portfolio for the longer term is the one which I think ultimately creates the wealth, and mutual funds have been doing that quite consistently. I'm extremely proud to be part of the mutual fund industry, and also extremely proud to be part of the Association of Mutual Funds India and support the industry for overall growth that it can add to the country, and also serve the large pool of growing investor needs in the country.
Nikunj, thank you so much, for having us, and wishing you and your team at both ET Now and Swadesh and all viewers a wonderful Dhanteras and Diwali. And I echo Bala's sentiments and also love the opening statement. I think, he said it so beautifully. Asset allocation is all that matters in the long term. Have a portfolio that makes sense for you, your risk appetite, that has equity, that has fixed income. Hopefully, mutual funds can solve all your asset allocation problems today. We're very happy to be able to provide such a basket of solutions that can do that. And most importantly, ignore the noise and stay invested.
Radhika, the trend towards SIP, the trend towards how Indians are now taking a leap of faith towards putting their savings into a growth asset like equities. Do you think this trend is here to stay, or this is a bull market phenomenon? The reason I'm asking this question is that I remember a conversation I had with Rakesh Jhunjhunwala once, and he said, when I started my career, my mother told me, don't be a stockbroker because shadi nahi hogi. At least that image of the stock market has changed. So do you think that the SIP culture which has picked up now is more than a bull market phenomenon, Radhika?
I think the SIP and equity culture is, Nikunj, I'm sitting and doing this conversation in Delhi, which is my hometown, and I remember in the 90s, wealth was measured by the amount of property you had. Today, if there's any family gathering here, I'm almost always answering questions about mutual fund portfolios, and it could be questions from people who are 20, and it could be questions from people who are 50. I think the average Indian is getting more aspirational, and if those aspirations are to be met with money, then I think equity has to be the right asset class, particularly in this low interest rate environment. So I think that is here to stay. Equity investing has also become a lot more accessible and easier between digital mediums and all the solutions that funds provide you. It's not just large cap equity investing. Sitting in India today, you can do everything from large to small cap. You can do thematic ideas, you can do technology ideas, you can do overseas ideas. So the range to catch people's attention, I think, has also become wider. And I still don't think the SIP book size gets the credit that it does. I think even if you talk to global investors, the fact that we have $1.5 billion of retail money that comes into our markets, which is just Indians saving in a disciplined way, month on month, is something to be very proud of. We've gone from being an FII to then DII to then individual driven market.
Radhika's Diwali time, so I'm going to just share a joke which me and Bala often said. And me and Bala were talking on a forum, and he said, Nikunj ka blood test हुआ. And Bala, what came out when the blood test report came out?
Yes. I think that something is very interesting, right? Completely opposite of what you think, what you like it to be. And of course, definitely is something, as Radhika mentioned, Nikunj, clearly the SAP way of investing has now become the part and parcel of everyone's thinking. Sometimes I do joke, or maybe I do hear from people. We ask a set of people, have you made investment in mutual fund? They'll probably scratch their head and say, let me just think through and see my portfolio. The moment you ask them, same set of people, say, have you made investment in SAP? The answer would probably spontaneously come, yes. So that way, SAP has now gone about the way of investing, way of life for investors in the country. I would also assume that when I was the last AMFI chairman, the year 2016-17, we launched the mutual fund Sahi as a campaign. Clearly, it has created huge inroads in the country in creating impact about the mutual fund as a brand in the Indian investors and savers' mind. That's something that has made a huge impact in terms of SAP as a book size is growing, and large pool of investors today, almost about 50% of folios, I would assume, maybe 40% of folios, I would assume, would have been come through the SAP as a book. This is something in my own belief is it's now created a huge counterforce to the foreign investor dependent that we used to have. Clearly, I think mutual funds have done a great job in this space. And as I speak, as we keep seeing the numbers more frequently, definitely still a long way to go, given the fact that the underserved people in the country remains very large, not from the point of view of hunger, even from the point of view of investment.
Radhika, let's talk about the coming Samvat year, which starts in next 2 days. And the big question is, how can one do portfolio planning when equity valuations are above the averages, when inflation is threatening to come back, which will dilute stock market returns, and if interest rates go higher, then the discounting in the market will change, which will lead to P compression. So are we likely to hit a patch of perhaps low returns or no returns for next couple of quarters or maybe 1 or 2 years?
I think there are a couple of points here. I'll come to the portfolio planning point. I think one is that while there is a lot of talk of valuations, because we have to realize that perhaps we could be at the beginning of an earnings expansion cycle, and we are coming back from 10-year earnings lows. So valuations can't be the only metric to look at the world. And I think, a lot of new age companies, as they come to market, they also run an IPO fund. I think, some of that lens will need to change as we're at the beginning of an earnings cycle. That said, is it a time to be cautious? Absolutely. How do you do portfolio planning? I think one of the things that the industry has made is a lot of solutions-based funds. I know both Bala and I personally love the hybrid or asset allocation fund category, popularly called the balanced advantage category. It's a category that gives you equity and it gives you fixed income, and it alternates between equity and fixed income. So in some sense, it takes care of this problem of market mein kitna lagana hai, and handles that asset allocation question that you posed at the very beginning, that it's important to stick to your asset allocation. Today, I think your return expectations have to come down. One of the things that always concerns me, at least, is that over the last year, people have seen 40, 50, 60% equity returns, especially new investors. And one of the things I tell them is, moderate your return expectations, expand your time horizons, and honestly look for solution-oriented products like these that can give you a meaningful post-tax return over inflation. And that's ultimately what we all seek as Indians. Some growth, but a reasonable amount of downside protection as well. And I think the industry in that sense has done a great job providing these solutions. 60-70% of my personal capital today sits in funds like that.
Right. Radhika, to the point that you were earlier mentioning, that there are plenty of opportunities. I guess it's the problem of plenty which is sort of intimidating as well at a retail investor level. While the hybrid category may be very good, but we've got a lot of Gen Z investors as well, which are, seeing the daily headlines and wanting to invest in the market. For the more racy and pacey kinds who have age as an advantage, what kind of fund allocation would you recommend to them?
So I think fund allocation is very personal, but I agree. You get a lot of, especially on social media, the racy and pacey investors writing to you. And I think if you are young, you can take that equity kind of risk. I still think, however, no matter how racy and pacey you are, if you are doing equity, you need that time horizon and you need that understanding of volatility. I tell young investors to do two things. One, start some SIPs in basic equity products. If you don't understand which equity fund to choose from because of your problem of selection, then pick a simple equity index fund. I mean, there's no question of selection there. Pick a Nifty or a large and mid cap or one of those simple equity index funds and start. And then for that new league of investors, the industry is also coming out with a lot of products, I think, that speak to them. For instance, global products, when we have a US tech fund, the industry has come out with so many of these disruption and innovation funds, funds that allow them to invest in companies that they want to touch and feel, global companies, technology companies, companies whose products they use every day. A lot of this is also out there. So your core can be a simple index fund, so you don't have the problem of selection. And then you can add a little bit of risk and that element of fun in investing, which that generation is looking at, with some of these products that give you companies that you touch and feel and understand.
Yeah, absolutely. On the other end of the spectrum, Bala, given that one doesn't have to restrict their mutual fund holdings even just to India markets. There are a lot of avenues which give you exposure to US equities as well, for instance. At a time like this, where we are on the cusp of perhaps a taper tantrum, maybe the interest rate trajectory changing, who knows? But at the same time, you're only fascinated when you get news reports saying that Tesla's Elon Musk is actually 3 times more than Pakistan's GDP, and figures like that slapped at you almost on a daily basis. What is it that you would like to tell investors right now? How much exposure in their portfolio should they have to global equities and in particular US equities?
Sure. I think really, Aisha, if you look at the most investors in India are not, first of all, exposed to Indian equity itself. So my always recommendation would be to every investor in the country should own exposure to equity to the mutual fund schemes, and that the portfolio consideration that they must have it if they don't have it. If somebody has got exposure, definitely they can look at diversification by investing in outside India. One, to build their future investment that they may need, or maybe the money that they may need for their children education globally, or any other purpose for which they can also build assets in the overseas market investment. I would assume about 10 to 15% of our allocation could go towards US kind of market. Also, one has to remember that when invest overseas, of course, what we have now taken example the last 2 years. In fact, the US market has seen a 10 years of bull market, and not even probably would have seen any particular year of extreme volatility. It's been a one-side movement. We must also keep in mind that market is not, of course, will continue to give the same behavior as we did in the past. It will go through ups and downs. As you rightly put it actually in the beginning, that interest rates are low, therefore people are looking for alternate opportunities. We must also remember that the other way around also can happen when the inflation shoots up, the growth starts coming back in a hurry, and the job market gets picked up quite nicely. And naturally the central bankers will start an unwinding process, which probably has to happen before 2023. We must remember that unwinding process is also equally what we call painful. That's something one has to keep in mind. And therefore, the time that we give for investment, I think, would be key. But it's specific to your question, I think definitely somebody who is already exposed to India, they can have about 10 to 50% exposure to US market, given the fact US markets represent the world, and whatever happens in the world also reflects in various companies' performance, that in the form of they sell their product outside the US. Therefore, you got to participate in Google for their growth in India. You got to participate in Facebook for their growth in India. So that's how one can play this game.
Radhika, good afternoon. This is Naintara. Welcome to my home city, Delhi. I hope आप एक स्वेटर लाएं अपने लिए क्योंकि जो आप मुंबई वाले आते हैं दिल्ली नवंबर में ठंडी तो लगती है. But it's happy Dhanteras also to you. You have always said that you should look at gold as a very small part of your portfolio. So on Dhanteras, I won't ask you about that, but something else that you're very passionate about, and that is women in investing. अभी आयशा ने आपसे बात की थी जो रेसी पेसी young first time investors हैं. What about the women? Because we've been hearing about more and more women entering the equity markets, more and more demat openings. I don't know if the Nika IPO has also helped in that sense.
So I think, happy Dhanteras, and yes, definitely enjoying your old wonderful city of Delhi for Mumbaikars. I think more and more women are entering equity markets. More and more women are also using mutual funds as a tool of financial planning. And I think it's essential, more and more of the conversations I'm having are with clusters of young women. And as they're getting aspirational about their profession, which we are as Indian women, we are also getting aspirational about our money. We are willing to take more risks with that money. I also think women historically have had a very sound, knack of saving. I think our mothers and grandmothers fundamentally taught us how to save. We knew about investing in gold. It's just that now that horizon has been widened, to equity investing. And I think women are fundamentally goal oriented. What has changed in the last 2 years for women is I think investing has become a lot more accessible again because of digital mediums. There's a lot more education. There are women only financial planners out there, women only digital mediums out there. So all in all, I think this is all adding up to more and women getting excited about, using funds or equities for their goals. But long way to go. Long way to go.
Oh yes, very a long way to go, and it's something that you keep talking about. I would also like to inform both Bala and Radhika that this interview is also beaming live on ET Now Swadesh. So Radhika, मैं अपना नेक्स्ट सवाल आपसे हिंदी में पूछूंगी और वो ये है कि आजकल बहुत चर्चा भी हो रही है कि म्यूचुअल फंड का जो बिजनेस है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है, वो डिस्टर्ब होने वाला है. हम जो नए स्टार्टअप्स को देखेंगे, आप सचिन बंसल और नवी को भी देख लीजिए. आप लोग तैयार हैं ये डिस्ट्रप्शन के लिए? क्या प्लान है?
आई थिंक 2-3 बातें मैं कहूंगी. सबसे पहली बात जो बाला ने कही, पहले तो ये इंडस्ट्री अभी भी इसका पोटेंशियल बहुत है, बड़ी हो गई है, लेकिन बड़े होने की गुंजाइश बहुत बड़ी है. जिस देश में 4-5% MF पेनिट्रेशन है, जहां वर्ल्ड एवरेज 40-50% है, वहां पाई एक्सपैंड करना बहुत जरूरी है. इन्वेस्टर्स की पाई एक्सपैंड करना बहुत जरूरी है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स की पाई एक्सपैंड करना बहुत जरूरी है. और नए एंट्रेंट्स आएंगे और मार्केट खोलेंगे, डिजिटल एंट्रेंट्स आएंगे तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. आई थिंक ऑल ऑफ अस विल बी स्माइलिंग. जहां तक डिस्ट्रप्शन की बात है, आई थिंक हर इंडस्ट्री में और खासकर इस इंडस्ट्री में, मुझे याद है जब मैंने 4-5 साल पहले शुरू किया था, people are constantly talking about disruption, and I think with due respect to all the new entrants और वो जो लाएंगे इस मार्केट में, I think even the established players and established houses, I would just say don't underestimate what they can do. All of us are ultimately trying कि हम कुछ अच्छे प्रोडक्ट लाएं, मार्केट एक्सपैंड करें, एंड वही कोशिश रहेगी. एंड द मोर द मेरियर. इंडस्ट्री को ग्रो करना चाहिए, लेकिन सही तरीके से ग्रो करना चाहिए.
Bala, shall I attempt in asking you a question in Hindi?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's give this one a shot. Bala, literally same सवाल आपसे भी, because एक तरफ से आप देख रहे हैं कि आईपीओ पॉप होता है, इतना गेन्स बनते हैं, बीट IRCTC, और अब तो आईपीओ लाइनअप इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग लग रहा है. एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम Nykaa to the BAF of all, as Naintara calls them, Paytm as well, soon to be IPOing as well. तो एक तरफ जब आप डायरेक्ट मार्केट के गेन्स देखते हैं, उसमें लगता है कि म्यूचुअल फंड में उतना रिटर्न नहीं बनता है. तो ऐसी क्वेरी आप कैसे अपने रिटेल पार्टिसिपेंट्स को, रिटेल क्लाइंट्स को एड्रेस करते हैं?
ये तो नया वेव चल रहा है, अभी आईपीओ का वेव चल रहा है. दूसरा एक है दैट जो आईपीओ का नाम लिया था, अभी सब कुछ प्रॉफिट के हिसाब से नई वैल्यूएशन सेट नहीं हो रहा है, रेवेन्यू के हिसाब से सेट नहीं हो रहा है, तो मॉडल के हिसाब से सेट हो रहा है. क्लियरली इफ यू लुक एट फ्रॉम द एंगल, द मार्केट इज कंप्लीटली लुकिंग एट न्यू सेट ऑफ कंपनीज टू रिवॉर्ड. बट उसमें भी म्यूचुअल फंड का भी पार्टिसिपेशन चल रहा है. बट अल्टीमेटली एज वॉरेन बफेट ऑलवेज सेज द मार्केट का जो वैल्यूएशन जो बनता है that comes on the base of revenue, the customer profit that we have, per customer profit that we bring in, the economies of scale that we bring in, contribution from per person contribution coming in, and finally the profitability. कभी आज के दिन पे प्रॉफिट का हिसाब से जो वैल्यूएशन मिलते हैं और नॉन प्रॉफिट के हिसाब से जो वैल्यूएशन बनते हैं, purely in the base of the story के हिसाब से वैल्यूएशन बनते हैं, वो आज के दिन पे वेव चल रहा है. One cannot actually deny that is something which is being accepted. Investors के लिए एक opportunity है actually to make some short term profit or short term money making opportunity. But longer term sustainable जो म्यूचुअल फंड इतना साल से हम लोग देखा actually मैं खुद actually markets में हम लोग 3 साल से काम कर रहा हूँ actually. Clearly I've seen different waves coming and each wave believe me has not sustained beyond a certain period of time. And उसके बाद fundamentals में लोग आना शुरू हो जाएंगे. Therefore one must just keep in mind mutual fund after seeing cycles. उसके बाद ही इतना एक्चुअली इतना आसान हम लोग सक्षम हो कि आज के दिन पे भी म्यूचुअल फंड का बात चलते रहते हैं एज ए गुड प्रोडक्ट इन्वेस्ट. इट कम्स इन द बेस ऑफ द पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस दैट दे हैव क्रिएटेड दैट कैन नॉट बी टेकन अवे. एट द सेम टाइम गिवन द फैक्ट दैट आज के डिजिटल वेव चल रहा है ये भी इग्नोर नहीं कर सकता है क्योंकि इसमें न्यू प्लेटफॉर्म ऑफ दैट. Therefore we need to also become little more conscious of this fact and understand and have it part of the portfolio. यही रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स का ए वेव में आप ज्यादा खुशी होके एक ही वे में उसमें वे में चलते मत जाइएगा. Look at your portfolio allocation and have exposure to these kind of names as well as have exposure to the mutual fund as a portfolio in order to have a sustainable longer term return. That something is a key.
Indeed it is. चलिए बहुत सीरियस बातें हो गई मार्केट के बारे में. राधिका, since you're in Delhi, what's all the gorgeous food that you've been gorging on?
Oh God, my mother's cooking something every day. Today we have a Diwali party where there is going to be kachori because I'm from UP. So बेड़ भी बनेगी, लिपटवा आलू बन रहा है, पनीर बन रहा है, and running joke ये है. I'm not saying this because I'm on your channel. कि एक 3 पत्ते की टेबल चलेगी और एक म्यूचुअल फंड एडवाइस की टेबल चलेगी क्योंकि मेरे पापा के जो सारे दोस्त हैं वो आके मेरे से बैठ के म्यूचुअल फंड एडवाइस लेंगे. तो एक और एक 3 पत्ते की टेबल चलेगी और गुलाब जामुन और गाजर का वही सब चलेगा साइड में. So that is what is happening today evening.
So probably I can see Radhika coming back to Bombay with some gaining more weight.
Absolutely, Bala. Absolutely.
Well, the food definitely beats Mumbai, hands down. I'm sorry to do this with you, Aisha. I know you're originally from Delhi, but the better food is here. Radhika and Bala, I hope you're also behaving like the consumer is back and investing, because we keep talking about that here too.
I think consumers have gone crazy, guys. I mean, I was at the airport and just looking at Mumbai airport, I was optimistic about consumer demand. I mean, the number of people out there traveling, any food court had a 15-20 minute line. You go to the markets in Delhi for Diwali shopping, can't get a restaurant reservation. I'm very, and of course everything's happening online. So my mother, who didn't want to buy a single thing offline, is now telling me I got my Diwali Rangoli flowers off Milk Basket. So all of that is happening, but I think we'll see great consumption numbers coming in this quarter.
I fully agree with Radhika as well on this. The last almost 2-3 weeks, if we see there has been increased level of activities in the economy. In any matter you take, whether it is the consumer behavior changing, travel behavior changing, or maybe urge to actually travel, urge to go to the restaurant and eat, and that's something has picked up quite aggressively. मेरे हिसाब से I think in next 2-3 months, I think it will remain as a big activities. I will not be surprised if by end of December, the government of India gets the benefit of big pickup in the GST collection, which again they have shown a good number recently. That's something I see is good economic activities coming back. Even travel is something. I think we'll see an increased level of activities, and all those things hopefully I would assume as things get better and better, more confidence comes back, probably year 2022 I think it would be a great year.
It's got all the makings of a blockbuster year. India has outperformed the rest of the world this year. Let's see if we can continue with that momentum. All the signs are certainly pointing towards it. Thanks a lot, Radhika and Ivala, for joining us today live on ET Now. Here's wishing you, your teams, your families a very happy, prosperous, healthy Diwali.